Hey, what's up, everybody? Marcos Viegas, Fight Up TV, powered by stagefront VIP. Another edition of our Fight Up TV interview show, but I feel like it's turning kind of into like a recap show. Might go that route, but welcome one, welcome all. Today is Monday, June 26th. A very good weekend of action in the world of boxing and a lot of news tidbits. A lot of interesting, juicy stuff coming in the world of boxing. Over the weekend, we saw Berlanga go against Jason Quigley, Carlos Adames, taking on Julian Williams, the return of Erickson Lubin after that fight against Fundura, against Luis Cuba Arias. And you know what? We got guests on today. We're going to go ahead and play an interview that I did with Dmitry Bivol as he reacts to this news about Canelo signing to fight potentially Charlo, as well as other topics as a fight with Artur Beterbiev in the future, and just basically what's catching up with Dmitry Bivol, what's going on with him at this point, as well as my interview that I did with George Kambosos Jr. I had a chance to go in and see him over the weekend, watch him train a little bit, and talk about his return on July 22nd on this ESPN card coming up. So with that being said, man, I got to get my man Marcus in here to talk about these things that I want to talk about. So let me go ahead and dial him in and get him on. There he is, my man Marcus. I hope you had a good weekend.
Yep.
We had a lot of stuff happen, but bro, I got to touch on one thing that I got to start out. This whole last week, bro, I was fascinated. I was tuned in every single day to this Ocean Gate submarine accident that happened, bro. I don't know why, man. I went through like a rabbit hole of just seeing Titanic stuff. Dude, man. Sucks what happened, first off. But then I read this thing that Mr. Beast, and I don't know if you guys follow YouTube, you guys watching, Mr. Beast is like the biggest, most successful YouTuber in all of YouTube right now. He got invited to go on the submersible, but you know, the sub imploded going down to I believe 12,000 feet, man. This story was freaking crazy, bro.
Yeah, man, that was unfortunate. You know, I mean, once you hear of any sort of disaster that involves being under the water, you know, it usually doesn't turn out good, dog. Like, you know, I mean, I was like you, I was interested, man. So I was looking at the videos and kind of just, yeah, you go down a rabbit hole, right? And I found one that really like that hit me, man. You know, and it was like the one that was the theory that was saying it was like a pressure cooker, bro. Like a pressure cooker inside of the submarine with all the sudden loss of pressure, that it created tremendous heat. And not only tremendous heat, but it also created a tremendous pressure. We're talking about, I mean, the pounds per square inch, the pressure per square inch was like unbelievable, dog. It was like,
man,
several millions of pounds of pressure.
So like, if you guys do or do not know, I'm sure like this captivated the whole entire world last weekend. But yeah, I looked into the rabbit hole too, as to like, okay, what happens when an implosion happens? You know, my main question is like, from the interviews that I saw, like from people, they said it was like an instantaneous death, just about, you know, that when an implosion happens, you're like in an air bubble. And when that air bubble gets breached, it's just whoosh, everything gets thrown out. So they're saying, you know, the 5 people on board didn't even feel anything, which I hope to God that was it. But there was a thing that like, not that I felt that it was weird, but it made me think that the U.S. Did you hear about this? The U.S. Navy knew about it. Like they knew right away on Sunday. They heard the implosion. And they told the Coast Guard, but they couldn't definitively confirm that it happened. But it got me thinking, bro, if they're able to listen to that under the ocean, like, I'm not a conspiracy guy at all, but like that made me think, like, you know what? The government knows every single thing about me, and they're probably listening to this, listening to my phone. They know everything about me, so I don't care about all this other stuff. They're listening to us if we don't even give them permission at all.
Yeah, dog, they are, you know, I mean, it's with new
Not to
technology.
get too tinfoil hat, you know,
Yeah,
but
don't break out the hat yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure Matt at home is like, yeah, here goes Marcos with the hat. But no, really, man. I mean, you could definitely see where, I mean, for them to be able to hear that, I mean, number one, they probably got sonar. They've got so many things down there, because their job is to detect and deter the enemy. So they're always on point. In that realm, it's hard for me to give the Navy credit as an Army veteran, bro. So
come on, give them
find the
credit, bro.
words.
Hey,
I'm trying
so
to find the words.
so yeah, I looked into that too. And I was like, what the heck? They get wiretap the ocean? Like what? Supposedly that system is a top secret system that they put in during the Cold War to detect Soviet submarines doing, I don't know what they were doing back in the day, but it was to detect that. The last thing on this, there was a lot of interviews that Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate, did, in which he said that they had a sophisticated sound system to detect when there could be a potential breach in the hull, which is what happened here in this case. And he said you could hear cracks. So from like the details I gathered, bro, they knew something was wrong because they were on the way, they were ascending. They had dropped their weights, and when a submersible drops their weights, they're going back up. So I'm thinking that they did hear something. They heard a crack, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? Calm down. We're gonna go back up." And what happened.
Wow,
I know, right?
and then there goes those moments again, man. I mean, I think that's what gets us about catastrophe and cataclysm, right? That's what intrigues the human mind. That's why I learned a new term a couple of weeks ago, man, from a friend, murder porn, right? I mean, we yeah, Erderme, but we get so hooked on these things, man. But when you start thinking about the moments before, man, it had to be terrible, because when you describe it that way, let's say this was even a 5-minute window of knowledge of what was that crack, what was that? And you start looking around at each other, bro. Wow. And
So
then
I was talking to my chick about that, and I'm like, I bet you anything, they heard something, and the CEO was like, hey, no, calm down. We're gonna go up. We're gonna drop our weights. Everything's okay. And everyone's just like looking at each other like, what? And he's probably like, hey, calm down. Boom, just like that.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But
Yeah.
but they did say that it happened, that from start to finish, with everything that went into it, that it was probably done before you could blink an eye. Honestly,
Milliseconds.
seconds. So there it is. I mean, God rest the soul of everybody
Yeah.
that went down in that horrific incident, man. Regardless of what you believe in, just wow, a terrible way to die.
Yeah, man, and it's just crazy that that company invited a bunch of YouTubers to make that dive. Imagine if it was the YouTubers that they invited. Like,
Wow.
oh my goodness, man, that would have been nuts. But transitioning over to the world of boxing over the weekend, a lot of action happening. Uh, you know what? I want to touch on first. I got my notes here. Arias versus, who was it again?
Lubin.
Lubin.
Eric,
Okay, there we go. Erickson Lubin.
you,
Yeah.
Lubin.
So Erickson Lubin getting I'm getting a brain fart, but Erickson Lubin getting a stoppage win. Ended up knocking out Arias. What, in round 9?
Yeah.
No, round 5. Round
Oh, it was,
5.
no, yeah, it was around 5. It was
Round
somewhere.
5.
Yeah.
So I text messaged you, Mark, because it was a weird night of stoppages on that Showtime card that happened in Minnesota at the Armour, which is a great freaking venue. When I worked for Fox and scored the fights there, man, that venue honestly is probably the best venue to watch boxing in all of the United States. And you're giving me like, huh? Let me tell you why. Because yes, the StubHub War Grounds, whatever you call it, always has tremendous fights, but that place more times than not is not packed. They do I don't know what it is, but they do a bad job of letting people know that there's fights there. This place at the Armory, people show up, people fill up that venue. I don't know if it's because it's in Minnesota and there's nothing to do there, and boxing, they don't get boxing a lot, so people get all pumped up. But that place, every single fight that I had worked there was always just about at capacity or close to capacity. and adds that much more energy in that venue. But it's a great freaking venue, man. But speaking of Lubin, the big question was he damaged goods? Was he going to have the ghost of that Sebastian Fundora fight coming into this fight? And how would he react when someone puts it on him? And what would happen? Was Luis Arias the right opponent to get our answers? Not sure. He did try. He did put a good account of himself, but Lubin looked great. He looked like, at least for this first test, he didn't have those ghosts of that last performance against Fundora.
Yeah, man, when I go back to that fight, one thing that stuck out at me, and I'm not too sure, because I know that Lubin told me that he was coming in and that he was coming to crack Arias, and that his goal was to be the first guy to stop Arias. But man, I was like, what kind of microphone was above the ring? Because the way that the punches sounded, shout out to the Showtime sound people, man. They sounded amazing. It sounded like Lubin was cracking him over the head with a coconut, bro. It was unbelievable. Some of the shots that he was landing, the body punches, the crispness of Lubin. I really feel like he definitely put himself right back in the player's seat for the division, man. I just feel like if given a chance, he took a tough break versus Charlo, right, where he catches probably one of the best shots that you can land on a guy early. And we all know what happened with Sebastian, just the deleteriousness of fighting Sebastian. He's going to be a hard out for anybody. And in all fairness, I was at ringside. Sebastian was winning against Mendoza, I thought too, man, until
just a bad break.
He just got caught.
Well, no, you know what? No, it's not. He just got caught. I think all of us chatting with each other knew this guy's going to get caught. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of when and who catches him.
I agree. I did feel like, that, but to when we start thinking about Lubin, I would love to see Lubin get a chance against some of the, the creme de la creme again in the division. Of course, he probably can't get that, but a thought that a person that comes to mind that I would like to see get back in the mix is Brian Castano. I would like to see Lubin and Castano. Lubin and Castano, provided that Castano is back in condition, the way that he showed himself in the second fight and the first fight versus Charlo, both tremendous bouts. I think that would be an all action, a very skilled matchup, and it would show us where Lubin is, definitely.
Yeah, no, it totally will, man. I think that's the guy that's going to show us, hey, if someone puts it on him, pressures him, is able to kind of take the speed and explosiveness of Lubin and dish it back out to him, is he going to melt down? How is he going to react? How is he going to rise up to that? So I think, yeah, definitely Castano is the right guy for that. That fight was weird, though, with Lubin and Arias because of the count, the knockdown. At first, when I saw it, I was like, well, what the heck? He got knocked down and they're already at 5? Like, he didn't even, like, well, what happened to those 5 seconds? And then I had to go and replay it. And with all fights, just for you guys, so you know, when situations like that happen, they have commissioners on the side of the ring, and they're counting at the same time as the ref is counting. It's just the camera angle didn't show, but on the replay, the Showtime replay, it did show the lady counting 1, 2, and he pushes Arias, he pushes Lubin. He looks at the lady, and I saw like 4, and that's when he went to 5, but. To me, like he got up right at 9. Yeah. And then he waved like yes, it was razor close, but I thought he beat the count.
I agree with you. I think, for that, right? I mean, I know that boxing is real and the pain is real and the blood is real, but you got to have a little bit of that WWE, that old school WWF, that, you got to give him that. If he gets up at 9, the dude got up. He didn't seem to be wobbling all over the place. Give him a go. It's Luis Arias. We know that Luis Arias is a warrior. If you needed to jump in there afterward, of course, he did take a spicy shot to the side of the head. The referee may have been worried about it a little bit, but I thought that he calculatedly counted and that he got up at 9, but he probably should have got up at 8.
Yeah. He was trying to. he was
Get up
trying
out of here.
to buy himself as much time as he could, and that's what they tell you, you know. But like also, yeah, you know, razor close, man. It's gonna happen. You're waiting till 9. If he would have gone up at 8, yeah, the fight would have continued. But I'm
Yes.
not sure if he would have finished the fight because Lubin was teeing off on him. He looked good. He looked sharp and explosive. He looked like the Lubin of old. In the main event, we saw Adamus and J-Rock, which I was stoked for the fight. I thought this was going to be a great fight because I know what type of fighter J-Rock is and what type of fighter Adamus is and the caliber. And you know what, man? There's a reason why they call this guy a bronco, bro, like a stallion. Like this guy's a thoroughbred, bro. Like once he gets going, he's going, and he's hard to freaking stop. And J-Rock had some great moments in that fight, but I just felt he broke down. Adamus broke him down over the course of 9 rounds, getting the knockout. And then we see another weird little stoppage, though. I think this one gets more of a pass, and I'll get to that. But you know, Adamus is gonna, like, he's in his prime right now. He's in his moment right now. Like they need a jump on him for these big fights because you don't know how long this window, this momentum that he has is gonna last, and they need to take full advantage of it because right now he's gonna be very, very hard to beat.
Definitely, man. One thing that comes to mind with Adames is the word sudden. Adames is very sudden, man. Shout out to Bob Santos, Carlos Adames, the whole camp over there. Bob Santos has got something going. If you look up, all Bob Santos's guys are very well conditioned, and they're motivated. All of his guys are motivated. Carlos Adames, I think, being the shining example lately of what Bob Santos has going. The body punches from Adames, let's start there and work our way back. Carlos Adames was landing punches right at the tip top of J-Rock's belt line. And man, it was just like a 3/4 uppercut. And the damn thing looked so painful, man. And not only that, Adames showed a little bit of like that Tank Davis ability to land that body shot and to have the wherewithal to step to the side. If you watch a couple of times, man, when he would take that 45-degree angle on J-Rock, I think in particular, he landed a couple of real hard right hooks to the body. But the way that he took the step first, he takes the step, he takes the picture, and I mean, he was just landing absolute bombs, man. I did think that J-Rock probably did deserve a chance to go out on his shield. This is an ugly sport. For a lot of folks that don't get a chance to see it, if you think it's ugly when the fight ends on TV, you should see it in the back, right? With the medical checks, it's the most serious that it could be. Everybody wants these guys, we're a small community. We want these guys to be okay at the end of fights. But I think for what J-Rock has done and meant to boxing and to the division and being a former unified champion in his own right, let him go out on his shield. I don't think that he was in any apparent danger where he looked like he was going to be hurt badly.
Yeah, I thought it was a mercy stoppage from the ref. I think, he was preventing the inevitable that was going to happen. Was if they continued, maybe I'm wrong, but it looked like how the fight was unfolding up that point, that Adames was going to go keep on the pressure, keep landing punches, and maybe would have taken him out. I could be wrong. Maybe, Julian did land some great counter shots, especially that left hook in the fight. But I felt, maybe that's what was going on in the ref's mind was, hey, he was hurt earlier on. He got a knockdown. I believe it was early in like the 3rd or 4th round.
No, he didn't go down.
He didn't go down. I thought they counted it as a knockdown, didn't they?
J-Rock didn't go down.
They counted it as a knockdown. No,
I don't remember a knockdown.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Because that was part of the rant by Breadman. Remember, Breadman was like, he never went down.
Yeah.
The BS A-side stoppage.
These fights are all getting blurred to me now. Jesus Christ, I'm getting old. But with that being said, even when they spoke to the ref, he said, hey, you were taking a lot of punishment, a lot of punches. He wanted to go ahead and stop that. Breadman was pissed. He said, hey, this always happens with the A-side fighters. Like, what the hell? Which, when you think about it, recently it's kind of looked like that. Like, look what happened with Rolly. That's the first thing that comes to mind too.
He didn't need it. Yeah, when we go back to the Rolly stoppage again, I was talking to the other boxing heads when we were at Spence Crawford, when we were at the presser, and the point I wanted to make was, we may be stopping these guys from being great. Not we, but they. They may be stopping these guys from demonstrating greatness that is within when you stop a fight that's too early. Who knows if Rolly doesn't dramatically KO Barrosos in the 11th round? We just don't know. We know we're not going to see that fight again, but when we go back to J-Rock and Adames, again, J-Rock, if I'm not mistaken, J-Rock throws the last punch of the fight. And if I'm one of those referees, in a fight like that, man, I think these are conversations maybe that these guys need to have in the back dressing rooms. Things like, hey, the only way out is on the knee, right? The only way out is on the knee, or the only way I'm jumping in is if you go down. Like,
well, I think the commission, they have a meeting prior to the fights, and yeah, we say all this like, hey, let them go, but like at the end of the day, like, it's the ref's job to make sure they're okay and they don't take damage, and they're in there like watching. So it's like, I guess in this instant, he was hurt a few times in the fight.
Definitely.
It appeared in that last round, though he was defending, he was hurt. And this guy was going to keep coming on and putting it on him. So that's why I felt like, hey, the stoppage before, bad. I thought it was bad. This one might have been a little early. J-Rock, maybe he could have finished the fight. Maybe not. We don't know. When you look at it like on a surface level, you're like, no, he could have continued. He was fine. He was blocking some of those punches. But when you see how the fight was going, you think, oh, okay, maybe the ref did a mercy stoppage and, hey, this is enough. I don't want you to take any more damage. You've been through a lot of wars too. I'm not, no, we're good. But, Adames getting the win, defending his interim belt.
Absolutely.
Switch hitter too, man. This guy, like I said, right now he's on a freaking momentum streak, man. Like, he's going to be a handful with whoever he fights. Yeah, I know he's been the mandatory for Charlo for some time now, and Charlo and Canelo are swirling each other, and we'll get to that. But the other fight that happened over the weekend, Edgar Berlanga returning to the ring, his first fight under Matchroom, fighting at the theater at MSG, taking on Jason Quigley, and they go 12 rounds, even though he knocks down Quigley, I believe, 4 times. Mm-hmm. You know what? This was the best I've ever seen Quigley fight, ever. He looked good, but just overall, man, with any Berlanga fight, if you don't have the power to like make him step back or make him think twice, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna need to relax a little bit, he's gonna try to steamroll you. He's the typical power punching guy. Any power puncher, that's always their thing. Seek and destroy, come forward. You can't take my power. It was very apparent in this fight, even though there was one instance where Quigley chin checked Berlanga, and it stunned him. It made him wobble. But I felt overall, people are trashing Berlanga, saying like, hey, he should have knocked this guy out. But hey, on the flip side, I think he mentioned it on the post fight. It could be a thing too. Look, Quigley looked terrible in his last fight. He knew he had a killer in Berlanga. He knew he had to step it up, really, really put in the work, brought in Andy Lee. He looked freaking great. He raised his level up. He raised his level up against a Berlanga because he knew, hey, this guy can end up starching me if I don't take it seriously. But there's also the other thing too, is when you step up in competition, you can't get those freaking knockouts that he was getting earlier in his career also. Like these guys that he fought for the first 16 fights of his career, this is just me, just on the surface. I would imagine he was matched up the right way to be able to get those knockouts. And this is any fighter. Once you start stepping up in competition and levels, you can't knock those guys out because those guys are just as good as you. They know how to avoid that, and they know how to survive.
Yeah, he had, if we look back at Berlanga, he had 17 first round KOs to open up his career. And then we go into the last 5 fights where he's went the decision with everybody, including Steve Rolls. and now Jason Quigley. One person, if I was at home and I was watching this fight, I would be hot, and it is, hello, it's me again, Demetrius Andrade. If I was Demetrius Andrade, I don't know, man. I would be hot. Demetrius Andrade would match for him too, right?
No,
Or not anymore.
not anymore. He was.
What is he doing now?
You know what? I try to ask Andre that question. He signed with Showtime directly. He's not a PBC fighter. He's signed directly with Showtime. But that fight that he had on the I believe the Tank undercard, I asked him how many fights did you sign with him, and he didn't want to tell me. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a fight by fight basis, which I think that's the most advantageous if you're a free agent, not being tied to anyone, so you can go anywhere. But yeah. I would imagine, like, dude, I stopped that guy in like 2 rounds, and he went 12 rounds with Berlanga.
Yes. Not just stopped him, broke his jaw.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
Set him down 4 times. Like he set him down a couple of times himself, right? But each of his knockdowns, if you watch the tape and you just saw Quigley going down wearing those green shorts, and you jumble them up, you would think that the knockdowns that Andre was able to produce were produced by Berlanga's power. Andre, with those looping lefts and rights, was just absolutely catching Quigley cold and was knocking him from pillar to post. When we start talking about Berlanga, I think that this performance is one of those ones that opens up more questions than answers.
It opens up more potential fights, though, too, man. You got to think a guy like freaking Munguia is like licking his chops, even though, hey, there's a lot of questions still on Munguia. Like, he went life and death with freaking Derevyanchenko, you know? But Berlanga, Munguia, give me that.
Berlanga hasn't seen a Derevyanchenko yet.
Berlanga, I don't think he's seen power of a Munguia either.
Absolutely, absolutely. He has not seen a guy that's breathing fire like he is. Berlanga breathes fire. He's intimidating to these fighters. He hasn't seen another guy that says, oh, man, I got dynamite in my hands, too. So if you step wrong, you're going to make a mistake. A guy that I was hoping that he was going to be able to get in the ring with from Omaha, Nebraska, is my man So-Cold Nelson from Terrence Crawford's camp. Former champion in division himself. He held one of the minor American titles that they actually gave to Berlanga while So-Cold was convalesced with the torn Achilles a couple of years ago. He has subsequently recovered, just coming off of a knockout on December 10 on the undercard of the Terrence fight with Avanesian. I just feel like he'd be better to go maybe a different route, man, because I think Munguia would be all over him in times of the fight.
I could see
all over him.
I could see either guy getting knocked out in that fight, honestly. And I think, and I don't know, I just kind of see maybe Berlanga is going to be the aggressor in that fight with Munguia. And Munguia is going to kind of be waiting and waiting, but by like the 3rd round, I'm telling you that a Berlanga-Munguia fight is going to be fight of the year. That's going to be fight of the year, potentially knockout of the year. That's if they don't make that fight next, like they're not dumb. Like, they have to know that this fight is going to sell. Like, we're going to want it because it's going to be freaking rock and sock'em robots. Do it in New York, do it in LA. Wherever it goes, it's gonna get a great freaking crowd. Even though Oscar and Eddie kind of be beefing on Twitter, which man, boxing's such a weird sport. Oh my God. Imagine, wait, you're a big NFL guy. Imagine NFL, do NFL coaches do that stuff? Imagine NFL coaches tweeting at each other, all this stuff.
Yeah, no, NFL coaches don't really tweet at each other. They kind of, the players do, but you don't really hear the coaches. I think they've got too much work to do, to be honest, bro.
Or the managers, the owners, imagine the owners talking ish to each other. No, you couldn't sign what's his face. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah. Yeah, York and Jerry Jones going back and forth on Twitter, Niners, Cowboys. That'd be hilarious, man.
Dude, you imagine that?
But you know what, man? When we start talking about Munguia and Berlanga and them locking horns, Munguia's work rate will be one to be concerned for Berlanga, right? And specifics, I feel like where Berlanga is, and it's not just Berlanga. Remember, Berlanga was with what's my man's name? Andre Rozier, right?
Yeah.
He was with Andre Rozier, one of the best boxing coaches in the game. Andre Rozier's guy, Derevchenko, just loses to Munguia. But I said that to say there were questions for me in Berlanga's corner at times, a sense of panic, a sense of disarray at times. And when you fight Munguia, everything's not going to go your way. It won't be, and he'll be having more dangerous traffic coming back at Berlanga than Quigley, right? I think we can safely say that.
Definitely.
Munguia is faster. Munguia has probably more durability. Munguia's got more pop than Quigley. I think that a Munguia, Berlanga, and let's not forget Mexico versus Puerto Rico. I mean, this is a boxing rivalry that I think that a lot of fans have been fiending for, and it looks like it's coming, man. Eddie Hearn, the ball's in your court. You got to make that fight, dog. You got to make
that fight, man. Our cameras were over in New York covering the event. We're gonna go ahead and get to Edgar Berlanga to hear what he said about his performance and those fights that we were talking about, as this is some clips from his post-fight press conference.
You know, I got off a year layoff, you know, so I know, you know, I'm a fighter. I'm gonna sit here and say no to everything, but I know that played a factor in the fight too, you know. But no excuses. You know, you gotta understand, like a guy like Jason Quigley, right? He got stopped twice, you know, so he was going in there not trying to get stopped again. You know, he was the best. You know, I hit him with one of the biggest right hands ever. He jumped up, you know, and he finished that 12th round. So, you know, he was definitely in there. He wasn't going in there trying to take a knee or trying to cop out. You know, I should have let my hands go more. I know coach was like, yo, listen, like, throw your fucking punches. And that's what sparked me in the 12th round, was like, let your fucking hands go, man. And, you know, once I started letting them fly, you see what was the results.
Why are you so anxious to fight Munguia next, man?
I feel like that's the biggest fight right now. You know, I want him in October in the big house, Madison Square Garden. I know that's a fight that everybody wants to see. We definitely want Munguia next, for sure, for sure. I want that motherfucker. You know, he's Mexican, I'm Puerto Rican. You know, I got the man here, one of the best promoter in the business right now, man. So, you know, I know he's gonna make it happen for us. I feel like it was sort of slow. I just know if I would have picked it up from the 6th, 7th, 8th, I would have got him out of there. You know, I felt like I just waited all that time, and then the 12th round was like, all right, I got to turn this bitch up, you know, and you've seen the results. So, but, you know, it's a learning process. You know, I'm learning. I'm young, 26. I'm a power puncher, but, you know, I'm blessed to be back with my old team, you know. And listen, man, I'm taking a week off, and I'm going right back into the gym to work. You know, this shit I ain't partying, I ain't doing nothing, man. All I want to do is just get back in the gym. As soon as I went to the back, I said, yo, Mark, we back in the gym in a week. I'm taking off a week, and we right back to the, you know, in the gym to work.
You know, he hasn't boxed for over a year, and this place was completely sold out. The atmosphere was tremendous. Jaime Munguia brings a big crowd as well. Like Edgar said, I'd love to do it in the main room here. I think it can fill it up. It also fills up probably Vegas, LA, but, you know, I think it's a conversation with the zone. They love the fight. Everybody loves the fight. There's other options. I think Gennady Golovkin, also in the big room, is a tremendous fight. You've got Billy Joe Saunders from the UK, but he needs probably a comeback fight first. There's loads of fights. John Ryder, but, you know, I think the fights that fill the big room are Munguia and Gennady Golovkin.
And Edgar, you've been talking about fighting in Puerto Rico. Is it Puerto Rico or New York next for you, ideally?
Definitely, you know, we was talking about that, you know, trying to get a fight in Puerto Rico. But listen, man, if the Munguia fight can land, if we can make it happen, that's the fight we want. You know, I think we got to make it happen right now. Like, this is the year to make it happen, you know. Puerto Rico versus Mexico, you know, he's a banger, I'm a banger. I definitely got the rust off, you know, I'm back with my old team, you know, so we going to pick up from that 12th round, we picking it up from there on. Like, that's how we're going to fight from round 1 to round 12 from now, you know. So I just had to shake it up, you know, and get the job done.
Like we mentioned, dude, that's the fight. Munguia and Berlanga, man, we hope we get it. He wants it, man. He had some choice words to say to Munguia. I'm telling you, man, Fight of the year, knockout of the year potential for that fight. Some news tidbits that happened over the week as well. Canelo signing I believe a 3-fight deal with PBC. First fight expected against Jermall Charlo, a fight that a lot of fans have been wanting for a very, very long time. The other being David Benavidez. And I think this sets up nicely a Benavidez fight if Canelo's able to get through Jermall Charlo. The only thing that I don't say I don't like, because I like the fight. I've always wanted to see Canelo go against Charlo, but I just think it's bad. It might be bad timing for Charlo, given the 2-year layoff and the personal issues that he's been going through. But man, there's a lot of potential fights there for Canelo now, you know. And Canelo, I forgot about this. Canelo has been a free agent. He's been doing a fight by fight basis, I believe, ever since the Caleb Plant fight, and Eddie Hearn admitting that, you know what, they just couldn't offer him any fights. They couldn't get the Bivol match done, which, remind you guys, Bivol's coming up next. My interview that I did with him, and they couldn't get the Bivol fight. Everyone else they couldn't get. So it made more sense for Canelo to go over and do this deal with PBC to get these potential fights. Now, we don't know who the other two are going to be. And you know what? We don't even know if it's really going to be Charlo, even though there's strong indications that it is going to be Jermall Charlo. But man, you know, Canelo's a veteran. He's in his 30s now, and you got to think, okay, he's closer to the end of his career than he is to the prime of his career. Okay. And it's like, if he goes through this phase now and he fights, say he fights Charlo and then Benavidez and then someone else, man, that right there, it's like, hey, what a way to go out. You fought the guys that everybody wanted you to see. Like, what else is there to go and do? The cruiserweight thing with Badu Jack, I get it. It would have been another thing to add to the resume, but come on, dog. You're going to fight for the cruiserweight title at 180 pounds? Come on, bro. Come on. Like, and I just speak of this because I used to wrestle, okay? It's like, if I'm going to your weight class, I could weigh anything I want, but I can't weigh more than that. And that's your weight class. That's what your weight. That's the risk I'm taking to go up to your weight class. You know, so I kind of disagree with that because of my competitiveness. But I do understand dude's freaking 20 more pounds, but that's the risk you're taking. That's the risk you're taking to do that. But Marcus, I digress to you now. What do you make of the news?
Yeah, man. I was like, damn. I was thinking about when we were with Jermall in LA a couple of fights back.
Yeah, that was for his brother's fight, right? With Castaño.
Right.
Yeah.
And we did an interview with him, and he was telling me, you know, like, man, y'all keep messing it up. I'm trying to fight Canelo. Y'all keep on talking about me and Canelo, like, just chill. So we did chill. It died down, and all of a sudden, man, popped up like wildfire last week again. Not sure if it's true. I know that we'll know because we'll, of course, be getting the briefings from the good folks at PBC about the presser, and that is signed, and we will know and understand. So knowing that we don't have those things right now, but knowing that there is something in place with Canelo and PBC, oh my goodness gracious, man, because that's where everybody you want to see Canelo fight is located, right? Is at PBC right now. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless. I feel like I agree with you. It's a little bit, the timing is a little bit off, man. I would like Maul to be coming off of a victory. Of course, he is a knockout something. I mean, his last fight, I think that's the one he got his eyes swollen, right? Yeah. That was a tougher fight. And when we start thinking about Canelo landing those punches, you know, I mean, Canelo fans have got to be salivating, you know, and but when you go to the other side of the coin, the Charlo fans in some ways have got to be salivating if we see a prime Maul Charlo versus what may be a fading Canelo Alvarez. I'm sure that some of it will be hoping for, but, you know, I don't know, man. I think that's going to be a tough fight. But one thing I could tell you is they probably could fight it in the phone booth. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of movement at all.
Yeah, you know, I think back to his fight with Derevyanchenko and the inside work that Derevyanchenko did, how he was really successful. And I think, damn, put a Canelo in there that has more power and has better counter punching. It's a completely different fight. And I'm like, interesting. I wonder how Maul would react to it. But You know, that's a good point. A lot of people think Canelo's fading at this point too because of that Ryder performance. So, you know what, maybe they're kind of meeting themselves at the middle. You know, yeah, it's a layoff, but Canelo's not the same Canelo like he was before. But, you know, it could have been an off night too for Canelo as well. There's so many variables that we don't know about. And the other thing too, you know, I was there at the fight and I thought, you know, maybe Canelo's just like, he just wants the brawl because that's he got like the macho-ness infused out of him because it's a hometown fight. There's an opponent there that like, he's not too worried of his power and he's like, F it. I'm going to go ahead and brawl with this guy. You know, like you get heated at that point and like at times and you just want to slug it out. But and a lot of people are saying like, nah, like, you know, he should have, and yeah, honestly, he should have taken a guy out like Ryder, but some guys you just can't take out, man. Ryder's a tough dude. Ryder's a tough guy, bro. He got like, there's a moment in that fight that reminded me of like a Dragon Ball Z episode when like they're getting their ass kicked and then all of a sudden they're like, ah, and, like they get like their second win. That happened to Ryder in that fight.
It did. And it seemed like it happened a couple times in that fight for Ryder. It seemed like it happened about every 3 rounds, right? Ryder, he was putting it on Ryder, and all of a sudden Ryder would just burst out with landing some bombs himself. He would charge up. I mean, he definitely was showing, he seemed to me like I felt like if he gets a chance to, he being Canelo, if he gets a chance to trade with somebody at this point in his career, I think he's gonna take it, bro. I think that he's ready to let it hang, man. I really do. I feel like this Canelo Alvarez right now, he might be looking at these other guys like, bro, I never thought you could beat me, Charlo. So,
but it might be deceiving too. Like I said, bro, it might be deceiving because that might have been just an off night for Canelo. So he might be coming in like, yo, if Ryder did this to you, I'm going to put it on you. And, you know, that might not be the case. We don't know, but imagine, man, if Canelo, like, okay, the 2 obvious ones, well, he said he would never fight Andrew because of what he did after the Billy Joe Saunders fight. But you got to think that might be in play. I don't know if they'll agree with it, but the dream scenario is Charlo. And then we don't know. You would imagine the last fight on this contract has to be David Benavidez. Like that's the big fight that fills up whatever stadium they choose to go. And yeah, I think this Charlo fight, they can't do it in Vegas from what I heard because the UFC has a venue booked, the MGM's booked. They could try it at Allegiant Stadium. They could try. I doubt they do Mandalay because Mandalay only fits like 11,000. But why would they? Minute Maid Park. Canelo's already fought there against Kirkland. It makes sense. Charlo's from Houston. It makes sense to do it there or arena over there. So I think that fight will land over there in Texas. But to end this thing with a David Benavidez fight would be huge. Like it would be
not to sound, let me sound like one of my favorite TV personalities, Mr. Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. Let me talk for the California, the SoCal folk, right?
Oh, Staples Center.
You can no. Look, let's kick the doors off of the Lambs Stadium.
SoFi.
Rams.
You said the Lambs. Is that a little diss there to the Rams?
Yeah, this Niners on mine, bro. You know, so yeah, Aaron Donald, all them, forget about it. But yeah, bring it to SoFi. Bring Canelo Alvarez to SoFi, to downtown, man. Bring Canelo down there. All those fans, man, with that open arena, never had a boxing event there. They just had the WrestleMania there, this last WrestleMania. Bro, Canelo Charlo or Canelo Benavidez in Los Angeles blows the doors off of any event. Man, look, can you imagine Canelo Benavidez in LA?
That'd be awesome. I didn't think about that because him and Saunders, I think they had close to 70,000, if I'm not mistaken. I was there, dude. Like that atmosphere was freaking nuts. It was very electric. I think it was one of the best atmospheres that I've experienced in the last 5-6 years. But yeah, I completely forgot that they could pack that same amount of people in LA. And I think the LA fans for that fight would go. They would fill it up. Yeah. You would imagine that's in the cards too, but it's that middle opponent that people aren't sure about. I know I think potentially it's probably Spence. regardless of what happens in the Crawford fight, because I'll tell you why. You're like, what? I know it's what 3 weight classes above his weight. Spence is a big welterweight, but this is a fight that Errol Spence has talked to me about and others about, that he is interested in. He has wanted that fight. So I think because of that, it would make commercial sense. Canelo is still one of the biggest stars in boxing. Spence is an established star on pay-per-view. There's intrigue there. There's a lot of interesting. How does this match up? You know, Spence. One, I don't even know how he makes 147. Honestly, Spence is more closer to size to Canelo than he is to Crawford. You saw the face-off with Spence and Crawford. There's a significant size difference between Spence and Crawford. But Spence and Canelo's not a big 168 either. Spence is a huge welterweight.
I think if they met somewhere, that would be a crazy fight, man. It's just
no catchweight though. No catchweight. It has to be at the. I'm tired of these freaking catchweights.
Where
168. 168. Weigh a few pounds less, bro.
Listen here.
Tired of these catchweights.
Let's not.
That's what I just said, bro. That's the risk. That's the risk you're taking.
Listen, no. Let me tell you the risk that he's taking. It's this youngster from Omaha.
Yeah.
That's the risk. That's the risk that Errol Spence Jr. is taking right now.
Bro, hey, no, Terrence is older.
I think, in all fairness, that we don't talk about Spence fighting anybody else right now until this matter with Terrence Crawford has been settled.
Well, no, I said regardless of what happens, it's still an attractive fight.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We have to see what happens in that bout. I really think that.
Because look, I say this because look, Rolly knocked out. We still want to see him fight against Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia knocked out. We still want to see Ryan and Teo, Ryan and Rolly, Ryan and Regis. We still want to see these fights. So and Spence is going to give a freaking good account of himself. So like I think regardless of what happens, people are going to want to see that fight because that fight sells.
Man, look, I'm looking at history. And I'm looking at when you fight Crawford, there's parts of you that aren't the same afterward.
Same with Spence, bro. Look, he battered Ugas, battered Kell Brook.
And it's the same, on the Spence side. I think that like we, you and I have had conversations. We've been talking about it for years. Crawford and Jermall Charlo, the build-up, the fight, that would be an amazing fight. But man, I mean, just to do the mega fight, the justice that it deserves, I can't see Spence or Crawford in anywhere but T-Mobile Arena, July 29. I can't see anything else for them right now, bro, for those two. But back to Canelo, maybe, oh man, I just that gauntlet that he's getting ready to walk is the most legendary gauntlet. I think potentially, if some of the names that we're hearing swirling around, bro, it's almost a little scary to think that he fights Charlo, he comes off of that fight, and maybe Morrell's waiting. Maybe Benavidez is waiting. We don't know which one of these guys are sitting there, but it's one of these quality dudes. You talking about beating one of them, right? And then coming, because when we start talking about Morrell, just go back to Morrell for a second.
You know what? I don't think that'll happen with Morrell. Let me tell you why. He's only had what, like 9 fights? Like I think at this point, the Canelo team, they want fights that make a ton of money, that do big business. The big business fights, Charlo, Benavidez, and like I said, Spence, like all these other ones. Those are the fights. Those are the fights that make big business. And I think, they're talking about like Berlanga and Canelo. Berlanga's nowhere near ready for Canelo yet. But I think it might be segueing nicely because this is going to take about 2 years for Berlanga to develop. And we could see Canelo when he's done with these 3 fights, if he chooses to continue to fight, because I think this is a hell of a way to ride off into the sunset. Honestly, that's how I saw this as, dude, he goes through these 3 fights, which 2 of which are, 10,000. Well, we don't, but you got to think these 2 of these 3 fights is going to be Charlo and Benavidez. if they're planning it smart, the last one has to be Benavidez. That's it. I'm out of here. That's the big fight they want to end it on. And that's the fight that potentially could pass the torch over to Benavidez as well. With that, you got to think, okay, he finishes that and goes to Berlanga, and tries to get more fights. But hey, we'll see. One guy that still wants to mix it up with Canelo that I had a chance to speak with is Dmitry Bivol as he reacts to this news and much more. Let's go over and get Dmitry on the line. Let's let that flash dissolve and listen to what Dmitry has to say. We are now being joined with Dmitry Bivol, who I believe is in the UAE right now, right, Dmitry? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in UAE now.
What are you doing over there?
I'm visiting here.
Yeah.
A couple days, yeah. Sometimes I'm coming here.
Okay, you're still a free agent, right? Or are you gonna make an announcement, a signing potentially?
It's hard question. No, we're working with Mushroom. Where I mean, what the question was?
If you're a free agent.
No, I'm not yet free agent.
Oh, okay. So did you re-sign with Matchroom? I remember that your contract had run out.
I don't want to talk, to be honest, about this, but today I'm with the Mushroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many fights?
I think minimum one.
Okay. Hey, it's whatever's good for you, to be honest. I got to get right into it, Dmitry. What's happening with go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I want to say these questions, it's better to ask my manager, because to be honest, I trust him a lot, and we're working with Mushroom today. This is what I can tell.
Yeah, where is Vadim? I expected him to be on this call.
I think he's sleeping, maybe. I don't know where he's...
I hope not. It's 11:43 a.m. here on the West Coast, unless he's not in California right now.
Yeah, and here in the UAE now it's 10:30. Yeah, 10:45 p.m.
Yeah, I hope he's not sleeping. But hey, so I got to ask you then, Dmitry, are you going to rematch Canelo? What's happening with this in September?
I don't know why. Why we talk about Canelo always? He has his own way. He wanted to fight. I don't know with who. And he has agreement with Charlo. He was talking with the Berlanga, yeah. And we were not talking about fighting against Canelo.
Okay, so because I read articles and it made it seem that maybe there was a small chance that the rematch might happen.
No, 100% it will not happen in September. I didn't talk about this rematch because we didn't get some offer, yeah. And now I don't have a time to be ready for September. Of course, I will not take this fight because it's not enough time for me.
Yeah, reading the articles, I read that Vadim wasn't happy with the offer that Canelo presented to you guys, that it was the same offer and that he felt that it was a stupid deal.
I'm not sure that we got offered because my team didn't talk to me about it. Maybe they were connected with Vadim about the same offer, but if they were connected with him, of course I agree with him. I mean, if I got disagree, I will not talk with my boxer about the same options.
The same agreement, the same deal.
Yeah, the same deal. Yeah.
So I guess he's facing Charlo then, huh? That's what you heard?
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah. To be honest, it's interesting how they promoting fights and how his team doing. I remember after my fight against him, there were a lot of rumors that he's gonna fight Usyk. He wanna fight Usyk. We thought, whoa, against Usyk, and then he was fighting against Triple G, and now we were hearing that he's gonna fight Badu Jack. The close, it's gonna happen, and suddenly it's Charlo. It's good promoting.
Yeah, you touched on two things I wanted to talk to you about. First, what did you think about them wanting to fight Badu Jack? Badu Jack sent a tweet saying, hey, they wanted to fight me at 190 pounds. They wanted to put a rehydration clause. No, I don't want that. I said no to. He said no to the fight.
He's right. If his weight? His weight should be 200 pounds. Why he should be less? He shouldn't. If you want to fight for this belt, you should be more than 175, yeah, and less than 200. This is your limit. Why we should make some limits? There is no belts for this imagination limits.
Yeah, I would imagine it may be a concern for their team that Badu Jack's a lot bigger than Canelo. That they want to make it more fair to him, and that's why they would put it in place. We saw it with Tank and Ryan. They felt the same, that Ryan was a little too big for Tank. Ryan's not a natural lightweight, and because of that, they kind of wanted to make it more even.
Mm-hmm. What about Canelo? To be honest, of course, he has enough skills to fight against guy like Badu Jack, but Badu Jack has a power. It's interesting fight if it's on 200 pounds, but if this fight on something in the middle, it's not fair. This is what I can see.
Yeah, it is, for the boxing fan, it is a little weird to fight for the cruiserweight title, but you're not at the cruiserweight weight.
Yeah, of course it's not good. If you wanna fight against cruiserweight, you should be ready that he will be real cruiserweight.
In your opinion, Dmitry, do you think Canelo would have won that fight against Badu Jack, or do you think Badu Jack's just too big?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I didn't see Badu Jack's fight a lot, and I don't know in which shape he is now. I saw only the moment of knockout when he won his belt. I didn't see all fight. I don't know in how he's conditioning now. But I saw he's big. He's really big, huge, and he has power. How his speed now? I didn't check it. It's hard to say.
Does that at all, Dmitry, make you, seeing that Canelo wants to do these kind of things in terms of moving up weight classes, does that at all give you an idea of wanting to move up weight classes as well, like, and challenge someone like a Badu Jack or other people in higher weight classes?
Of course, in my dreams, I want to fight for belts, cruiserweight, middleweight, but in reality, I have to finish deals in my weight class. I don't want to move somewhere until I didn't finish things in my weight class.
Go ahead, continue, Dmitry.
Maybe one day, I don't know. I'm not big for cruiserweight, but maybe one day, I don't know, I will see some interesting fight for belts. I don't know, maybe, and I will take this challenge for me to move up to cruiserweight.
But no catch weight, right?
No catch weight. Only for belts, you know. Catch weight could be for belts, or no. It could be or not. I don't know.
It could, yeah. If both fighters agree, it could, yeah.
No, if I will fight, if one day I gonna fight for cruiserweight, of course it will not be catch weight, just cruiserweight.
This last thing about Canelo, I know it kind of it kind of bugs you, and you're like, why Canelo? Why Canelo? Why Canelo? But I'm just curious, Dmitry, does he beat Jermall? I mean, excuse me, does he beat Jermall Charlo? How do you see that fight with Charlo and Canelo?
I see that he will move forward and try to finish him with 1-2 punches, you know, and Charlo will try to keep him on the distance, and he will try to move. This is how I see, but I'm not a good expert, you know. To make a good prediction, you have to watch a lot of fights, Charlo, Canelo, and you have to know how they are in training camp now. But I don't know how they are because I'm worried about myself. And
yeah, you know, speaking of you, we were hoping, Dmitry, we'd get this undisputed fight with Artur Beterbiev. It's looking like Beterbiev. Well, it's not looking. Beterbiev will fight Callum Smith in August, and then fingers crossed, we hope it'll be a fight with you for undisputed.
yeah, I hope too. I hope before, I hope now, and I don't know what to say again. You know, I will just repeating. Of course, I want to fight for belts and nothing else. You know.
In terms of you, Dmitry, you know, the last fight that you had was a while ago against Zurdo Ramirez. When are we going to see you back in the ring again?
I hope in September or October. September. If September, I should get offer a couple weeks ago. You know, I think October is better.
You know, I read in some articles that Buatsi is looking like the opponent. Is that correct?
No, we didn't talk about Buatsi, but he was my previous potential opponent. Maybe this time we will fight. I don't know. I'm ready for anyone in my weight class. I'm trying to be ready for top of 10 fighters in light heavyweight.
Will the fight, you feel, be in the United States, or is it going to be over there in the Middle East? Or
I don't know.
do you have a preference?
No, I don't have preference, to be honest. You know, I like to fight everywhere. I'm really glad that I was fighting in UAE. I introduced boxing here. It's good for our sport, and I like how people love sport in UAE, and I like this country. And of course, I like to fight in America. If you fight in America, everyone could see in the world this fight. It's more attention for fights if it happened in America.
Yeah, but there's more money in the UAE.
Similar, you know, but it depends on the fight. I'm not sure that every fight will be more expensive here. No, it depends on opponents.
With that fight coming up with Beterbiev that he has in his hometown of I believe Quebec, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, will you be there, Dmitry? Will you be scouting and looking at that fight there live in person?
To be honest, I hope I will be in my training camp for my next fight. This is what I want, to be honest.
If not, will you be there?
If not, we will see.
How did he look to you against Yard, Dmitry?
Against Yard, he's a really interesting opponent. I see he's progressing. Does it make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Who's progressing, Yard or Dmitry?
Yard.
Excuse me, or Artur.
He's getting better and better. How I see on Yard.
Yeah.
He was better than he was against Kovalev. He got a lot of experience for that years, and he showed him with the good side, against Beterbiev. He was good until he got punched.
Yeah. A lot of people were surprised. They were expecting Artur to knock him out really fast.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he went so long with him.
Yeah, I was surprised too. And Yard, he was faster. He moved with his head. He used a lot of jabs. He got Artur with the jabs, and even when he was defending, his defense was good. But he just has less experience than Artur and less power than Artur, and he caught him.
Yeah, caught him. Yeah. Some people have suggested that fight showed that Artur is getting a little older now. Would you agree?
If I say he's not older, it's not true. Even everyone's getting older year by year.
Yeah, I'm getting older.
It's hard to say. You want to ask me, maybe he's getting worse. Yeah. You want to ask this, yeah?
Yeah, that's what people are saying. He's looking older now. He's looking more vulnerable. A guy like Yard shouldn't be having that many rounds with a guy like Artur Beterbiev.
For me, I try to give more benefit
of the doubt.
For Yard,
Yeah.
that he's getting better. He's got better, and Artur on the same level. I try to see like this. It's make me more focus. If I say, oh, Yard is not a good fighter and Artur is getting worse, he's older now, it's not good for me. It's not good for my focus, for my it's not good for me. I can't say like this.
You talking about that, you've had a pretty long layoff. I'm not sure if this is the longest of your career, but it's been pretty long. Are you happy with that? Do you like being able to relax, or you rather be in the gym constantly training?
This time it's not bothering me too much, to be honest. I had the fight 7 months ago. It's fine. I had the pause 1.5 years after COVID. It was hard, and now for last year I got 3 fights, and now I'm resting. I'm recovering now. It's okay. 1.5 years is too much, but 7 months, until 1 year, it's fine in my age, I think now. If I'm younger, 25 years old, it's not good 1 year rest. In my age, it's fine.
You're talking like you're old. You're not old, Dmitry.
I'm not old, but I'm older than 25 years. Every year, we're getting older. Our health problem you should be more careful about these problems. In 30 years, when you have 30 years, it's big difference between 25 years. If you got some problems, it's recovering more longer, and you have to make your warming up longer when you are 30 years old. You have to make your finishing of training, you know, when time after training, you have to do more stretching longer than you are younger, and recovery after fights longer too.
Oh
It's just
man, I know what you're saying. I have to spend 20 minutes warming up before I work out.
when I was younger, I had only 10-15 minutes warming up. Now I need 40 minutes. You know, because sometimes, oh, my knee or my elbow, my shoulder, my leg or something else, you know, I need to warm it up better. And of course, year by year, it's getting worse.
It sucks, huh?
Yeah, but it's life, and we have to accept it, and we have to work on it. But now I know that I have much more experience, and I'm more confident now than I was when I was 25 years old. Some pluses, some minuses.
Yeah, no, that's very true. But with that being said, Dmitry, are you already looking at the end goal? Are you already have a number in your mind like, hey, once I get this age, no more boxing?
40 years old, no boxing, 100%.
100%.
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't have a number of age in my head. I have some feelings. I just have some feelings inside of me. I want a belt. I want a belts. I don't know when I get this belts. I hope one day what I will feel after. I don't know.
What has your family told you about fighting? Do they want you to stop already, or they say no, 40 is okay?
No, nobody told me 40 is okay. We're not discussing about finishing my career in which age. We're more talking about with my team. I mean, we're more talking about achievement. We achieved this, and it will be easier to make decision, finish boxing. You know?
What I guess what other achievements? One is you want to be undisputed at 175. I talked to you a little bit about moving up to cruiserweight. Is that another realistic goal for you? Then is that move up to cruiserweight?
Now I see. Today I see only move down for belt, only in my weight class. Now today I see this, but we don't know what will happen tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow Canelo will fight Badu Jack, and then he asks, I want to fight somebody else, you know, in cruiserweight against Dmitry, and or I mean things could be like this, that I can fight for cruiserweight, but I can see it now. When
wow, so you go ahead, Dmitry.
Everything is possible, you know, about cruiserweight, and it's just imagine situation, you know, which I told you, but it looks surreal, yeah. I just know, yeah, it's imagine situation, but it could be.
Yeah, that would be a crazy situation. But you mentioned that you would move down to 168 for all the belts. You can still make 168? Like that wouldn't be too hard of a weight cut for you?
Of course I can make 168. You know, before my fight, before weight in, I'm having breakfast, little bit drink water, and I go on the scale, and I show my weight, 175 pounds. It means that I have some
extra,
yeah, extra. And this is not big difference between 175 and 168. The big difference between 175 and 200.
But that's 7 pounds, Dmitry. That's for someone who is all muscle, not a lot of fat. That's 7 pounds could be a lot, no? To drop down to get rid of?
For me, it's not big deal in my situation, because I'm not doing too much weight. Usually my weight is like how many pounds? It's in kilos. It's around 87, 86 kilos. It's around less than 200 pounds, 100%. It's 192, 93 pounds.
Wow. Have you tried a test cut to see how you feel, or you're just confident, like, oh, I know I could go down to 168? 100% I know.
I didn't try it. Many years, but nothing changed too much in the body.
With that being said, you have said the only way you'll move down is
to be honest.
Yeah.
To be honest, maybe 4 weeks ago, my weight was 178 kilos, just in my life, in my real life, because I had something in my life and my weight was dropped down, and my weight was like 178, 179.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You're a natural 175 then.
But usually my weight it's 190,
But you're fit, you're staying ready. So yeah, I get 10 pounds. Yeah, I think so. 178, 10 pounds with the training camp.
Yeah, of course it's not a big deal. If my weight 147 pounds, of course it's big difference, but not in my situation, I think. I didn't try it. It will be harder, of course, than 175, but I could try it, and I think I could be. Look at Ramirez. He's huge. He's cruiserweight, superweight maybe, and he's doing 175. I think for me to make 168 easier than for him to make 175. Because when I moved to pro boxing, my coach told me, you will not fighting against your weight. You will fighting against your opponents. And when you are losing weight, it shouldn't bothering you at all. And it's not bothering me. I'm just enjoying the process in my training camp. I'm enjoying sparrings, enjoying fighting. I'm not bothered too much with my weight.
I'm curious. You mentioned your trainer. What does your trainer think about how a rematch with Canelo looks like, given that he helped you craft a plan to beat him the first time?
We didn't talk to him, to be honest, how we will fight against Canelo on a rematch. We didn't talk at all. And I think we will not talk with him until we sign the contract.
But he's okay with you moving down to 168?
It's just wasting time.
Yeah,
he's okay with me about moving down. We told it about it before, that for belt we could move down. Doesn't matter who has this belt. For belt we could move down.
Is there anybody else at 168, Dmitry, that's interesting for you besides Canelo that you think this is a fight I want?
No, only for belts.
So if Charlo wins, you want Charlo? no, David Benavidez.
Yeah. If Charlo wins, I would like to fight. It's not my. It's not like, oh, I wanna fight against someone in 168. No, it's not my. I prefer to fight in my weight class. If someone wants and we have a good offer to move down for belts, I will do it. But I prefer to fight in my weight class.
So I read a thing that the WBC wouldn't allow you to fight for their belt, and you said, "Hey, that's not fair at all." Would that be the case for the Artur Beterbiev fight? It wouldn't be undisputed.
You know, we didn't talk with the Suleiman, to be honest, about what he told, because I think we need first talk against opponent, and then with the chairman of the belt. I think like this, and I think in my case, I born in Kyrgyzstan. I spent there a lot of training camps. I'm not only, I'm not in politics, and we just need to talk about. We just don't need to talk about it. I think we need to talk about fighting against someone, and then we will talk with Suleiman about his opinion.
Beterbiev is a Canadian citizen, so he gets around it. I would imagine because you're born in Kyrgyzstan, you're a Kyrgyzstani citizen, right?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. That the problem is not about this. The problem is we can't get this fight, both of us.
Just wondering, Dmitry, there's another famous fighter from Kyrgyzstan, Valentina Shevchenko. Are you familiar with her? What do you think about her?
Oh, she's very famous in Kyrgyzstan, and what I'm thinking about of her, she's great. I mean, she achieved a lot, and I don't know her personally, but I heard about her a lot, that she's a good person, not just athlete. She's a good person.
Yeah, I was curious if you guys had ever encountered each other, or have ever trained with each other, or met each other.
No, we never met each other.
Well, maybe one day you guys will.
I think I saw her in my gym in St. Petersburg once, but we never talked to each other.
Well, she trains a lot in Vegas, so I would imagine if you're ever in Vegas, you might get a chance to meet her. But yeah, she's doing big things. One of the best women fighters alive.
Yeah, I heard about it. Yeah, maybe we'll meet each other one day. Why not? Of course.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I would imagine. Well, Dmitry, man, hey, it's been a good chat. It's good catching up with you. When are you coming back to the States? When are you coming back to the US?
I have a plan to go to Kyrgyzstan soon for training camp, maybe for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 4. And I hope while I will be there, we will get offer for my next fight, and we will see where it will be. If it's in US, we will come to US, of course, for training camp. If it will be somewhere else, I think we could come to US.
You got to let me know who are the top 3 choices then for this next fight.
I don't know, because I'm fighting on October or September. I want to fight, October.
At the latest, October. At the latest.
October, and I don't know who will be in October. I'm thinking differently, not like you. Maybe you see on the schedule of the fighters and this is a good fighter. I'm thinking differently, who will be waiting that time fight, and I don't know.
Well, as always, Dmitry, it's great catching up with you. Great chatting with you. I really appreciate it. If you want to just send one last message to the fans out there that are watching and support you.
Yes, I want to say thank you, everyone who's watching my fights, who's following me in interview or in social media. Thank you so much. I appreciate, and you are giving me strength to be better. Thank you so much.
And that was Dmitry Bivol. We look forward to your return, Dmitry, coming up September or at the latest October. As always, Dmitry, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, that was Dmitry Bivol. We thank him for joining us. One thing you brought up, Marcus, that I completely forgot, but I tweeted about it. This is gonna be if this is even crazy. We're even talking about, dog. To be honest, But if freaking Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg fight, that's gonna be the biggest pay-per-view of all times. It's gonna break all freaking pay-per-view records, all gate records. It's even crazy that we're even giving credence to this. Dude, does Elon Musk even know how to fight, bro? Like, I see Zuckerberg, all these grappling videos and stuff. Like, okay, he has some sort of competency on the ground, but like, how can these guys throw a punch? Like, this thing seems insane to me.
Bro, I don't know, man. Like, I saw the pictures of Elon on that boat. You know what I mean? Like, you got to fight them cravings.
Oh, man, yeah.
No, bro. Like, all jokes aside, man, I don't know, dog. Like, I thought it was a joke at first. Like, I didn't think that they were serious. You know what I mean? But I'm taking Zuckerberg in one, bro. Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I'm taking Zuckerberg too.
Elon, don't disable my Twitter account at FightHub Hayes, bro. Don't do me, my guy. But I just don't think that you can fight. You got to prove it to me, doggy. You've been putting your face on other dudes' bodies and stuff. Like, man, no.
Bro, I think the troll game, the trash talk, Elon Musk is a high level troller. I think he's gonna put in some work there, but when does he even know how to fight? Like, he has no fight back? Like, how are they even gonna do this? Like, I don't understand.
He may take some serum or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, dog, because maybe he's like some one of those like rich dudes that has like a Bruce Wayne thing going on. Like,
bro, you just said it. He needs to like lay off the freaking food.
Maybe it's like Steven Seagal right now, bro. You know what I'm saying? Steven Seagal could probably still break somebody's arm. I know. Hey, I don't know, dog.
No, he probably could. I give Steven Seagal more of a chance against Zuckerberg than Elon Musk, dude. Honestly.
Yeah, I still would take Zuckerberg over Steven Seagal too, homie.
Hey, that's kind of nuts to me too. Like, freaking Mark Zuckerberg been doing grappling and jiu-jitsu for like the past year. Is actually not that bad now. Training with like real people. Props to him, man. The guy's a multi-billionaire. Not as rich as Elon Musk, who likes to put it out there. He's the richest guy in the world, supposedly, if you don't count that Saudi money that they don't account for on these lists. But who's gonna sanction this fight? Honestly, it's gonna have to happen like in some weirdo like. There's no way Vegas sanctions this fight unless it's an exhibition. Like, this is the only way.
It's too much money, yeah, and it will be an exhibition. It's going to be, we've already seen it. We've literally already seen it. This is the spinoff of the Jake Paul era, right? This is the
influencer boxing event, the spinoff, yeah.
And to be honest, man, I think that it's a good old American way to get some aggression out. You got rappers to start scrapping.
They should.
Guys got beef, man. Call up Fight Hub and let's start a promotional tour and get you guys to fighting. One fight I would like to see is Blueface versus Crip Mac. Blueface and Crip Mac should be fighting sometime before Christmas. Christmas.
Hey, I kid you not, bro. So I used to live in a barn house in college. It was my fraternity house. I lived there for like 4 years, and I wanted to stage backyard fights in there because we would throw these parties, and there would always be so many fights that we would get in because we had some dumb rules too that started and instigated a lot of these fights that happened back in college. The main one being like, hey, if you piss anywhere on the property, we get the hose and we spray you and you get kicked out. You would imagine you get sprayed by a hose, you're going to get extremely angry and want to fight somebody. But because the fights were happening so much in the backyard, like I thought like, dude, like, why don't we just have fights here? It would have been, I was ahead of my time, bro. It would have been something like those, the Seattle fights that happen, street beefs. I love watching street beefs on, TikTok. Yeah. I love those street beef fights.
Hell yeah, the street beef fights are so much fun to watch, man. It's just something. I just think it's our culture, bro. We just like to see people scrap. We like to see people. It doesn't matter if you can punch, if you can't kick, if you can't fight at all.
Well, no, wait. Like that Chase the Moore guy, I don't ever want to see that guy fight. Heck ever, bro. Yeah, I don't want to ever see that guy fight ever again.
I don't even know what Chase was doing, man. Chase is a cool dude, bro.
Yeah, he is a cool dude, but I don't think he has any business being in the ring.
Nah.
One guy, though, that does have business being in the ring. July 22nd, a week before Spence versus Crawford, George Kambosos is returning, taking on Maxie Hughes on his Top Rank debut fight. I had a chance to speak with George and catch up with him over the weekend, and this is my chat with him. So go ahead and enjoy. George, back in LA, I saw a post you wrote back where it all started. Remember seeing you training out here with Manny, running the hills. How's it like to be back after those two fights back to back with Devin?
Yeah, look, it's fantastic to be back. You know, this is where I made my mark. This is where I was able to build myself and, you know, come to the hard-ass gyms, come to the places where you get the veterans, you got the contenders, the former world champions, the world champions. You're alongside fighters, real fighters. So I wanted to feel that again. You know, I'm extremely hungry. I've made the sacrifice, and I'm here where it all started and where I was able to make my emphatic rise, become champion of the world. And we plan on doing it again. We're going to take this IBF World Title Eliminator and pick up the IBF World Title as well. So I'm excited, July 22.
Man, you had a hell of a 12, 13 months, man. You went from becoming undisputed champ. A lot of people say, oh, no, it's whatever the fans would say about that. Yeah, you know, I know you consider that because I spoke to you about that. To fighting Devin back-to-back to now. How would you encapsulate the last 13, 14 months and what you experienced?
It was 11 months to be precise, man. 11 months I fought 3 huge fights. Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney twice. 2 guys are inside the top 10 right now, pound for pound. So it was a crazy 11 months. A lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice, a lot of dedication to not only my craft in the ring, but also to the media, to promoting. You know, we've got to remember I did a massive stadium fight in Australia, so I had to do a lot of promoting as you know, the A side at that stage. So it all comes to the territory. You know, I've learned a lot from them fights. I learned a lot of experience. So it's good reflecting back on it, but I'm hungry for more. I won the belts. I defended them against. I tried to defend them against an unbelievable fighter. Unfortunately, I lost them. I went back again. A lot of guys would said, no, I'm not going back to it, but I went back to try to reclaim my belts. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but we're here again. We're here to make, get back to the top and win another championship and get that glory again.
Yeah, man. I would imagine. I remember you took a little break off from like media and all that stuff. But like, when you look back at those 11 months, what's the biggest takeaway you feel from like everything you went through, from the highest of highs to the lowest flows?
Look, this sport is, you know, you can be at the top of the world, and all of a sudden, you know, you choose to fight. You know, another very good fighter, a guy who was very no one wanted to fight. And then all of a sudden it doesn't come right, and you know, the fans will kind of think, oh, no, he's done or whatever. You know, don't judge me on my losses, judge me on my return. And that's why we're here now. We're here for the return, July 22. I learned a lot from them fights, from the wins and the losses. You know, when you go win 36 rounds with the elite, you pick up a lot of things, and you can see today how much better we are from them fights. So I'm excited for July 22. It's going to be a great statement, live on ESPN, live on pay-per-view in Australia. And, you know, we're here making the sacrifice, not just to win this fight. We're going to win this fight, but we want to make a statement on this fight. Max Hughes is going to be a statement.
You know, you kind of mentioned it, and it's always been a saying, like, you're only as good as your last fight, which I feel it's, you know, not fair, because there's certain styles that some guys don't look against, and then there's other styles that people do look against. Given the two fights and given what I said, like, what do you make of, like, the reaction from maybe the fans here or fans in Australia that kind of may have overlooked you or not putting much thought into you anymore?
Yeah, look, styles make fights. I've been saying it for so long. Certain styles will gel better with other certain styles. And when we came up against Teofimo Lopez, that style, both guys very similar, explosive, throw a lot of punches, you know, want to go toe-to-toe. Then you got Devin, who's a very sharp boxer, guy who uses his reach and distance and his length and, you know, his size. So, unfortunately, things don't go right in that fight. But again, the fans, you know, got to respect the biggest fights. The fans want the biggest fights. That's what they're always parading about. You give them the best fight, then you should give respect to the fighter. Now, after the first Haney fight, obviously there was a bit more disrespect. But after the second fight, when I went toe-to-toe, I gave everything I had. Blood, sweat and tears in that fight, and I got a lot of respect. And we saw it in Vegas when I came out for the Haney-Lomachenko fight. It was crazy. The fans were everywhere. I took thousands of photos, and that's the respect there. Everyone was excited, and they could see the kind of fighter I am. So, you know, we're back.
No, we caught up with you after the Haney-Lomachenko fight, but just looking at the way Lomachenko fought, did you pick anything up there that you could have maybe thought to yourself, like, damn, why didn't I do that?
Like I said, styles make fights. Loma's got that tight guard. He's a little bit smaller. You know, he likes to really close the distance. He's a southpaw, so that's why we came with a game plan in the second fight to be southpaw. I knew that there was more openings with Devin as a southpaw, and I know firsthand after the fight with Devin saying you really threw us off guard, especially in the first couple of rounds with the southpaw. So styles make fights. Loma fought a hell of a fight. So did Haney. They fought a great fight, close fight, and you know, they both move on. Who knows what's to come for both of them.
Yeah, I know Lomachenko was a guy that we talked about. Yeah. You want to fight him for a long time. You know, when you fight you were at the top at 135, and when you fought Devin, what made you decide to stay at 135 and not maybe take a chance to move up to 140, where we're seeing all these other guys move up now from 135?
I make the weight comfortable. I'm 30 years of age. I feel great. I got a dietitian now. You know, I train extremely hard, and the weight's never been an issue for me. I make the weight well. I've been able to get a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger since the Haney fights. And with a dietitian, it's come down nice and comfortable. So at this stage, I want to be world champion again at 135. And then from there, we will assess and see what moves are up at 140, and we make that move. But that's where I campaign at, 135.
How do you see the picture now? Because we're hearing that Devin's going to move up to 140. The belts are going to scatter. This is an eliminator. Like, who else do you guys see in the picture, you and your team, at 135 potentially fighting for the titles?
Well, the most important thing is Maxi Hughes. That's all I'm focused on. Maxi Hughes, July 22. But again, there are so many great fights out there. I really like the Gervonta Davis fight. I think styles-wise, a lot of people saying he's too explosive, he'll knock me out, whatever. They said the same thing with Teofimo Lopez. I think styles-wise, me and him is a shootout, like I would say against me and Lopez back in the day. Shakur Stevenson is another fantastic fight. You know, he's very avoided. He's a very good southpaw, but I love fighting the southpaws. And you know, you got great fighters. Lomachenko makes a lot of sense. You know, he lost to Teofimo. I beat Teofimo. We were meant to fight. There was talk about me and him fighting back in 2017, 2018. Then obviously we had a pretty much signed agreement to fight. So third time lucky. Me and him in Australia, you do 60,000, or who knows, we can go to Greece. You got a lot of Ukrainians there at the moment because of the war. You know, a lot of respect to them. Who knows, we can fight in Greece in the old Olympic Stadium. Who knows what's to come.
Damn, that'd be nuts. And I completely forgot that that was supposed to be the undisputed fight. Yeah. You and Vasily, and because of the war, that didn't happen. So yeah, that would be kind of a crazy thing. But it's even a crazier thing that despite the losses, you calling out and wanting guys that people don't want to fight. People don't want to fight Tank because he's too hard of a puncher. People don't want to fight Shakur because they think like this guy's too good. But you're like, nah, I want these guys.
You go back a few years ago before we spoke against before the Lopez fight. I don't know if you can remember what I said, but I said I want to feel his power. I want to taste his power. Yeah. I said that. It's the same thing with Tank. Hey, if you put me to sleep, put me to sleep. I'm a warrior. I'm prepared to do whatever in that ring. So I want to feel that. I see things in that fight like I saw in the Lopez fight, and style-wise, that's a great fight, but we'll see. Maxi Hughes first, July 22. Then I got a great team behind me, top rank, The Bell Entertainment, Ferocious Promotions. You know, great manager, great coaches, and Whatever's to come will be after July 22. That's our focus now.
I spoke to Teo a few weeks back, and I asked him, hey, if there's one fight you got to get back, which was the fight? And he said he wants that fight with you.
I saw it. He didn't sound too confident, did he? He was like, Kambosos fight? I don't know. He just doesn't sound confident, man. And that's one thing with Teofimo Lopez. That confidence, when it comes to me and him, I just know how to handle that with me and him. So we'll see if it makes sense and it's there and he's not retired and he hasn't vacated the belt and it's there on the table. Mate, I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm fight the best of the best. I already fought him. So let's do it again. Who cares?
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you believe he's retired or is it just kind of like a posturing thing?
Like I said, he's got a lot of things outside of the sport. My heart goes to him where it comes to things that he's going through. I even said it after I beat him, go and enjoy time with your kid, and I know that's a difficult situation, so, we'll see what happens. But I'm sure he'll be back. When he's talking about money, when the money dries up, you got to fight. Or in other cases, you don't need to fight, but you want to fight in this position like I am. I don't need to fight. I want to fight. I love fighting. I'm a warrior. In his case, I don't know, he seems like he's a bit forcey. It's like outside people tell me, oh, you got to fight, man. And in this situation, you might have to fight.
You sent a tweet out to Max, and I saw it, where you're like, hey, like, I forget exactly. Yeah, Max Kellerman, yeah. Tell me a little perception on that.
Before the fight with me and Lopez, you saw him screaming his lungs out, literally an hour and a half before the fight. I'm going to eat you, I'm going to eat you. We forgot that, I got the footage. After I beat him, after 12 rounds, he goes and does a backflip. Come on, you tell me you got some issue from what, some random doctor, we've never seen the evidence, put it out there. The right hand that I landed, I nearly decapitated your head, didn't do any damage, or the other right hands I landed throughout the 12 rounds, didn't do any damage. You got to take your wins with your wins and your losses with your losses. Devin Haney beat me twice, I'm a man, he beat me, so be it, I'm back. Give me my respect. And a lot of fans, give me my respect. I beat him on that night, and styles make fights, I have his number. And if you want to do it again, we can talk.
I'd love to see it again, man, just because of this, because there's a lot of...
I get more size on me. Yeah. I get to get a little bit bigger, a little bit more explosive, punch a little bit harder, and we can talk. But for now, July 22, Maxi Hughes.
So
Max Kellerman can say what he wants. We had a great interview after the Lopez fight. I was very respectful to him. He was very respectful to me. He's a big journalist in the game of boxing, in the world of boxing. But when you're criticising the New York State Athletic Commission, who is the most thorough and strictly commissioned in the world, the amount of testing we have to go through just to step inside them ropes, that's on your behalf as a journalist, it's a little bit, subpar.
In your opinion, George, because you were kind of put in the same position too in terms of the whole undisputed, he also said that Teo should be considered double undisputed. What do you think about that?
No, I didn't really say like that. I said...
No, Max said that.
Yeah, Max, look, at the end of the day, you can come up with what you want, You can say what you want, I can say what I want. Teofimo can say that, he was undisputed the first time, which you can make a good case because I beat him, so of course I'm going to make that case. Devin beat me, so he became full undisputed. Now, in the second fight with Josh Taylor, it wasn't official undisputed. Yes, you beat a guy who was a former undisputed, who had to vacate his belts because of the mandatories, but you didn't beat the proper undisputed. And again, it was quite cringy bringing all the belts. You know what I mean? Like, them belts are gone. I got them, now Devin got them. Yes, we got them at home, sitting in our cabinets, but you imagine me rocking up to the Maxi Hughes fights with all my belts. Look at me. It's a bit cringy, man. Just to show you, look at me. They're only belts, man. Relax.
Finally, just going back, I want to see that Tank fight. And people have said, like, man, how can you beat a guy like that? You mentioned you see things there. Give us a little hint. What do you see there?
On that Tank is a very explosive fighter, and it's no disrespect. A lot of respect there. What he done with Ryan Garcia and these other guys has been extraordinary. He is a puncher, but I can take a shot. I got a chin on me. I'm very explosive as well. I throw a lot of punches in bunches, and when I take someone's confidence away from them, when they can't take me out, and keep coming and keep breaking them down, opens up a lot of holes. So it's a great fight. He's a lot smaller than what I am. I feel like I can capitalise on that. He'll probably be the first guy that's been smaller than me. Bar Maxi Hughes, I think he's a little bit smaller than me as well. So it'll be an interesting fight if it makes sense and it happens. But again, people say, oh, it's for the money, for the payday, whatever. Fuck the payday. I've made enough money in this sport. It's about the name. It's about the legacy. That's what I'm here for. I'm 30 years of age. I feel better than ever. I'm in my prime right now. And it's about the names on my record and fighting the best of the best. Nothing else.
George, I'm getting wrapped up for time, but it's always great chatting with you. Love the energy as always. Love the attitude of wanting to take on the challenges. I think that's what we should see from not only our champions, which you were a champion and you always will be a champion, but also the other fighters as well. As always, George, great chatting with you.
Thank you for all the support, and get ready, July 22.
Man, can you break down this Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford fight? What are the keys for both fighters to get victory?
It's a hell of a fight, man. It's a 50-50 fight. I'm always continually going back and forth with myself, thinking, Spence does that well, he can get the edge on Crawford. Then, no, Crawford does that well, he can get the edge on Spence. You know, both guys are tremendous fighters, and that's why it's such an intriguing fight. I really can't pick one. I really can't pick who's going to win this fight, and that's what's going to drive the fans towards this kind of fight. Spence is such a good body puncher. He's big, he's strong, he holds that defense nice and tight. But he did get caught by Ugas in a couple of his fights ago. You know, he got caught. It looked like he got hurt. But then again, Crawford, such a good switch hitter. You know, can hurt you from any position. But again, you've seen in his career as well, he's been hurt. And he did get dropped by that Cal Vasquez or whatever his name was.
And Gamboa, he was hurt too.
Gamboa hurt too. But you know what? Things have changed, obviously, back then. What's the age? Crawford's a little bit older.
Yeah, I think he's like 35, 36.
6, yeah, that could come into play. But again, Crawford is an absolute beast, man. And so is Spence. I really can't give a prediction. I think it's going to be a great battle. I think it's going to go down to the wire. I don't think anyone's going to knock each other out. I think it's going to be a real tit-for-tat kind of fight. And, you know, big respect to both guys. I think both guys are tremendous fighters. And, you know, I'm excited to watch it. July 22 myself and July 29.
You're a week before.
Yes, I know. So I got to, you know,
make it over there to Vegas.
Look, I'm a big name, but I'm the entree compared to that. Look, I say it the way it is. I'm real, and I'm the entree compared to that kind of fight. But I'll be back to that level again. I've been at that level not so long ago. So bring on Crawford and Spence Crawford, whatever way you want to say it. I'm excited.
How does one separate themselves in that fight?
I think when it comes to such a high-level fight, you know, it's that war of attrition. You know, that who wants it that much more? Who's going to put in the extra, not 1%, but 0.1% in the gym? Go that extra mile. That's where it's really gonna make a difference, I believe. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like Crawford, just that work ethic, maybe a little bit better than what Spence does. But again, Spence is just a good fighter too. So I really can't say nothing bad about both guys. You know, like I said, I respect both guys, and I think it's great for the sport. And we need more better fights like this. Best fight the best, and you know, we're gonna see the sport continue to rise, and that's what we want.
There's part of me that sees like Crawford be able to counterpunch and counter real well. There's another part that sees me just him being drowned out by activity of Spence. Spence walking him down and just bop, 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 bop.
That's the way I see it. You know, like Crawford is a very dangerous counterpuncher. Yeah, he can land that shot from different angles and switch and land. But then Spence has got that high work rate. He's got that size. I think he's a little bit bigger. That high guard and the body work, the level change could make a big, you know, difference. Just gonna have to wait and see.
If I were to give you $1,000 cash right now, who would you put your money on? A draw. I'll put it as a draw, and I'll do it again. Yeah, put it as a draw. I wonder what the odds are on a draw.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm betting the 1,000, I'll double your 1,000. I'll put my 1,000 as well, and I'll go a draw.
All right. Yeah. George, one last thing. Canelo versus Charlo, we think is going to get announced officially, though. They're saying that's the fight. Break that fight down for us.
You know, look, I think Charlo is a great fighter, but the inactivity is too much. You know, I think inactivity is sometimes good for a fighter. And obviously, I've had a little bit more time since my last fight in October. But for his stance, where he's at, that 2 years is going to be a big factor. Canelo's been fighting. But again, Canelo didn't look amazing against Ryder. But again, Ryder's a tough guy too. So I think Canelo gets the job done. Again, exciting fight, man. It'll be interesting. But I think Canelo, gets it done. And then hopefully goes to the big one, Benavidez. That's the one that we all want to see. I don't know if Benavidez and I think Morrell is going to fight. That'd be another great fight. So we'll see.
What do you like in that one?
I think Benavidez, man. Yeah. He's been in the bigger fights, more experienced. You know, he can take a shot, keep coming back. Got explosive power, and he's got a high volume too. So I'd have to go with him. Yeah.
Because we're talking about Charlo, do you think Tim, based on his fight with Ocampo and him being active, has a great chance, more than a 50-50 chance of beating Jermall?
No, I don't think it's his percentage goes up. Look, let's be serious. Ocampo is a fighter, but he's not. Yeah, look, it's not an amazing name, but again, it was a smart get another fight, keep that activity up. Obviously, they did Harrison first. They went into Ocampo. Keep moving towards, you know, this big fight. And I think Charlo has no choice but to fight him. He has to fight him. He can't walk away from this fight. If he does walk away or vacate the WBO belt, it's not a good look on him. And you know, they got to get it done. And let's see what happens in that fight. It's a good fight. Obviously, Tim, before the last two fights, you would have given Charlo a massive edge. But the activity and obviously the inactivity of Charlo has brought it a lot closer. You know, I'm looking forward to it. And me and Tim used to train together a long time, so you know it's great to see someone like myself that did it, got all the belts, and now I'm coming back for my return. But he's in that situation too, so this is where it's your make or break kind of fight. Are you at that level to get all the belts, or it wasn't his time? So we'll see.
Yeah, you kind of like laid the first wave, like the groundwork for all these guys coming up from Australia now.
We are still the big name in Australian boxing, the face of Australian boxing. We've done the hard yards, and we're back here, you know, continue putting the hard yards. But we did lay a big, you know, blueprint and a confidence where Kambosos went and did it. I can do it too. I can go and achieve it as well. Now, look, it's a little bit different. I done it a different way. You know, didn't have the big support from Australia, didn't have the backing from Australia, like a guy like Tim does. But I'm proud the way I did it and got to the top my way. And I continue to do it my way now with the big backing of Top Rank DeBella and my company, Fresh Promotions.
Yeah, and you showed that you can bring people over there and you can pack stadiums, because I hear there's a little back and forth now that Tim wants Charlo to go over there because of the potential of a stadium fight.
Yeah, it can always be done. You know, the Aussie fans come out and support. Now, I was very, you know, in a great situation where not only the Australian fans, but I got a massive Greek fan base, as you saw in Melbourne. The Greeks are fanatics. They support me. They get behind me. Now, I don't know if Tim has that with the Russians at this stage, but I was very fortunate to have that with me and be able to fill in that stadium, pack that stadium, and we've seen it. From a guy that they didn't really promote, a guy that they put on the back burner all the time, that was doing his thing here, until he got the belts, came out and did what he had to do. So 45,000 in the stadium.
That was crazy.
Not everyone can do that, you know.
You like triggered a memory, like memory unlocked.
And look, Devin, you know, full respect to him, but in that first fight, he wasn't really the big name in Australia. I could have fought anyone that would have come out to the stadium fight. And then in the second, obviously, when he beat me, his name really grew, and I know he's got a lot of respect in Australia. And you know, like I've told him, he's got to come out to Australia and offer a fight. We've done and dusted that. Come out for a holiday. We'll have some fun out there.
Beautiful memories, though. Because now thinking about that first stadium fight, you don't see that very often in boxing.
It is. You know, whenever you do a stadium fight, a mega fight like that, all the belts, the atmosphere, you know, it's amazing. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Just when I walked out, you know, to 50 Cent on a freezing cold June 5th winter's day on a Sunday. And it was amazing. It was amazing, and the atmosphere was amazing. And you know, that's a memory that I have in the past, but it's something that I want to emulate again in the future. And I think with guys like Lomachenko, guys like Gervonta Davis, I don't know if he would ever be able to. I don't think he can get into Australia, so that probably won't happen. But Lomachenko.
I saw how strict they were with Bill.
I don't know where he is right now, but yeah, I don't think he ain't getting in. Lomachenko and a rematch with Lopez, I think, are the other fights that can be done in stadiums in Australia, and I think they do even bigger numbers than what we done in the first fight with me and Haney.
Big ups to George Kambosos as well as Dmitry Bivol for sharing some time with us. George returning to the ring July 22nd in Oklahoma, taking on Maxie Hughes. That is a IBF title eliminator in the 135-pound division. I want to thank Dmitry Bivol as well for stopping in with us and chatting a little bit. Fingers crossed, man. That's one of the most anticipated fights, I feel. For me, is to see an undisputed fight between him and Artur Beterbiev. But Beterbiev has some business to take care of against Callum Smith coming up in Canada in August in Quebec City. I'm hoping I can go to that fight, man. I've always wanted to go to Quebec City. I hear very great things about Quebec City. It feels kind of like a Canadian Paris in a way. It's like a slice of Europe in North America. A lot of fights happening, not next weekend, but the weekend after that, I believe. Let's go ahead and pull up the fight calendar and see what's on here. The return of Jared Anderson this weekend, July 1st on ESPN. He's headlining his first main event. It's a homecoming, but hey, what's on my mind is the interview that I did with Jared last week where he says, hey, this is just a means to an end. I'm just boxing because it makes me a lot of money and I want to get out as soon as I can. Makes you kind of wonder, where's his heart at with all this and how long is he going to last? He's a young kid, 23, might have a change of heart. I want to hope that he does because I feel like he's too damn good to just step away so early. And yeah, might be kind of selfish of me because I'd want to say that the human in me would be like, nah, this is a messed up sport. You could end up getting seriously hurt. You want guys like him to get in, get out, make as much money as they can and get out as quick as they can. But I almost feel like you're born with that much talent, man. It's not that it's a waste, but I like you got to take advantage of it. Okay. Like you're cutting yourself out financially short as well by exiting out. But hey, man, props to him. He returns to the ring July 1st in Toledo, Ohio. Also, this weekend out in England, Savannah Marshall taking on Franchon Cruz in a fight that I believe I might. You know what? Let me go check. I want to get the broadcaster right. I don't want to say anything that is wrong and then it makes me look foolish. I'm going to type this in right now. Franchon Cruz. Marshall Franchon Cruz will be on Sky Sports this weekend in England. So that's another matchup that's happening this weekend. And I think, that's about it. We're 2 weeks out from Virgil Ortiz's return, 2 weeks out from Jaron Ennis's return. Hopefully we get one of those two guys in here with us next week. With that being said, man, do us a big favor. Follow us online at Fight Up TV on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Go ahead and give me a follow on Twitter as well at Hey, it's Marcos V. Hey, it's Marcos V. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Please support us as well. And go ahead and join us next week. Actually, wow, next week's the 4th of July. Huh. Man, I hate, it sucks when these holidays fall during the week because you got to go to work the next day. Monday's the 3rd. A lot of people will be off. I'm going to go ahead and craft a pre-4th of July show for you guys. But we'll go ahead and still do the show this coming Monday. So I want to thank you so much for joining us, for watching us. A big thanks to the guests that we had on the show. And for behalf of the Fight Up TV team, thank you guys for watching. Keep supporting us. Keep watching. And see you guys here next week.